Joe. Hey man, this is Dan again, and we are doing part two this time. We're going to talk about SEO. You had mentioned getting some traffic. I mentioned a keyword tool, and we're talking about new posts. So let's go to our website. This is where you're going to put Joe. Here we go. Joe, how to build a website. View blog. Joe video, how to build a website.blogspot. In the other video, we talked about all this stuff. Now, you want to get some traffic to your website, right? Because without visitors, you can't really do a whole lot. It's hard to make money if people aren't visiting your website. It's hard to sell anything. It's hard to advertise anything if nobody's going to see your website. So, check out Google's. Google has some great resources to check out. Webmaster resources. I mean, Google really tells you what they want, and you really want to work with Google. They have some. So this is for their actual tools, and we'll talk more about that later, but they have some great tools that'll show you what keywords people are actually searching for in Google and how often they search for them. Look, Google Webmaster Resources, and you see Google AdWords Keyword Tool. So just to show you, we're going to do this Google Keyword Tool. Actually, I'm curious how many other keyword tools there are, because there's other ones other than just Google's. I think these are probably going to take you to the same place, I believe. Here's a YouTube keyword tool. I bet that, I'm going to start looking at that. I bet that would be helpful, especially when you're making YouTube videos. That's what people are searching for in YouTube. And let's just do this for a second. How to build a website. How to build a website. How to make a WordPress website. How to build a website. And like I said and mentioned earlier, check out Matt Cutts. Matt Cutts is kind of like the SEO oracle. He goes around and speaks at conferences about SEO and what Google wants you to do. And listen to me, Google wants to give you traffic, especially if you're writing good stuff. Like Google, their customers are people that are searching in Google for certain subjects and topics. If you have the answer to what people are searching for on your website, then Google wants to show you first. That helps Google keep their customers and keep people searching in Google and keep people searching in YouTube. YouTube's a part of Google too. So please check out this Google Webmaster Help channel. I do it very regularly. I prefer watching videos most of the time. I definitely do a lot of reading. And check out some other guys too. Aaron Wall, SEO book, has some cool stuff, even on his website. SEO book, Aaron Wall. You don't have to buy anything from him. I just check out his blog for now. I mean, I'm going to tell you exactly what I do too here in the future. But if anything, Google's just getting smarter. And in the past, a lot of websites, you almost had to use tools and not sure how to put it. Google's gotten a lot smarter, and I think they make it a lot easier because basically they cut out all the people that are kind of trying to cheat the system and not give Google what they want. And Google wants to give you traffic if you give them good content. Anyways, Aaron Wall's got some great stuff. Check out his blog. There's some cool, helpful stuff on here. I mean, get help everywhere, but Aaron Wall is one of the guys I first learned from. And look, he's even got videos of Matt Cutts on his website. What are some misconceptions in SEO? SEO, dirty, rotten scoundrels. Here's another Matt Cuts talking about advertising. Check this stuff out. I'm going to go watch this after this video. Just like I watched last night this awesome video, which I'm going to put reference in the book. Where'd it go? I'm going to reference it in the book. It talks about the difference really between just saying WordPress is more specific, but Blogger will give more flexibility. Blogger is very easy and simple to get started with. WordPress, even still, I have spent days looking for 3 clicks on how to make things exactly the way I want them on WordPress. And you don't really have to do that, especially with Google's great tool. Check out all these videos. I mean, they got tons of them, and a lot of these are questions that people have written in asking about SEO. I mean, Google wants to work with you and wants to work with everybody that does good stuff on the internet. Google's trying to make the internet, what people want. It's part of the reason why Google's been so successful. They've done a great job with it. Here we go. Is WordPress or Blogger better for SEO? Please check out that. I'll go ahead and put it in the email to you along with this.
Today's question.
See, today's question, and forgive me, Google. I'm telling people to use you and to check you out. Forgive me if I've infringed on a copyright by playing your video for a second. Please forgive me. But Matt Cuts has great stuff, and there's other people, SEO startups in under 10 minutes. This is still on Google Webmaster Help. Google is a great resource. They will basically tell you everything you want and need to know. But don't limit your knowledge. Check out Aaron Wall's SEObook.com. Another good guy that I have found very useful is Yoast.com. This is more for WordPress stuff, and I'm gonna write a book about WordPress here in the future, but WordPress, honestly, if you are even relatively new, even my brother, he's been working online for over a decade and retired from being an attorney, he doesn't know much about how to use WordPress. I mean, even the basics, I've had to do some really kind of fundamental things that I bet you could do now, even though we've only talked about Blogger, because WordPress and Blogger are the same things. All those are content management systems, or CMS. It's just how you organize the website, where the pages show up and stuff. And Blogger has a few limitations, but they've gotten a lot better even in the few years I've used it, and they just make it a lot easier. It gives you a lot better, I like that they give you a lot better control of how your website looks. Because this stuff, yeah, you can go and put a picture of Joe right here and cartoon stuff, and I think this is a great website. It looks cool. I come to it all the time to find stuff, especially about WordPress. He's definitely one of the guys I recommend you check out if you're doing some WordPress. I think he has some other things other than WordPress, but he's a smart guy. Check him out. But this is a lot of work, and especially to figure this out. If this is your first website, this isn't his first website, I guarantee. Maybe it's his first, but he offers hiring. Like, you can work with him if you want. So he's he's a really smart guy, and he has some great plugins. I do recommend his plugins if you are using WordPress. At least the WordPress one, I use that. But if you're not using WordPress and you're using Blogger, like I also use, then don't worry about it. But Yoast, Aaron Wall, Google, and the Google even just Webmaster website. Google has the resources you want to check out. Trust me. Bing has a keyword tool. As Aaron Wall, I believe, has. Yeah, here's Aaron Wall. And if you want to have your picture show up, tell me, because I'll talk to you about that and how you can get your picture to show up next to your website when people search for it. It's very easy. It's literally will take moments. And Google, I'm sure, has videos telling you the exact same thing. So, here's another one, WordStream, Larry Kim. like I said, I'm going to come back and check out this YouTube one since I've been starting to do some videos, especially right here with this one. But let's go ahead and get into the keyword tool. I like Google's keyword tool. If you want, you can sign in. I think that's going to require you to create a pay-per-click account. Feel free to play around with it. Otherwise, you're going to have to put in the CAPTCHA things. So let's do emergent. Let's pull up your website, Joe. Alright, so electronic medical records. Let's just start. So my friend Joe has started his website about electronic medical records. I never put a website in. Feel free. You can obviously choose finance or something if you're writing about credit cards or credit repair or real estate or being an attorney or getting a job. Play around with some of this stuff, but I usually just start where I think, and then I can work with things through that. I'll show you how. So, electronic medical records. Wow. This is global monthly searches. That means every month there is roughly 74,000 people searching for electronic medical records. Wonder what those people are actually looking for. Global monthly searches show how often people everywhere search for a keyword. About the number, we average the number of searchers over 12 months for each keyword in all locations. This will help you get an idea of the traffic you can expect. If you don't see statistics, we don't have enough data. So if you don't see statistics, you can kind of assume that it's probably not searched for. And so let's go ahead and just briefly look down here. Here are some of the other keyword terms that are searched for. Electronic medical records software, 4,400 times. Advantages of electronic medical records, 2,400 times. Electronic medical record, singular, 74,000 times. Electronic medical records software, 5,400. You can read this stuff. Go over and type it in. Let me show you another thing, because this is pretty important. Match type. Select a match type to see the monthly traffic volume for a keyword with that match type. So right now we have it selected as broad. Broad is the sum of the search volumes for the keyword, related grammatical forms, synonyms, and related words. So that means if, let's say you misspelled electronic medical records, when you have this broad thing selected, this when searched into Google and searched for is showing results for electronic medical records, the one that has 74,000 monthly searches. Exact match is the search volume for that specific keyword and close variants. So maybe exact match would actually be the misspelling. I'm not totally sure about these things. The sum of search volumes that include the whole phrase or near variants of the whole phrase. What I do, and what I suggest you do, is check out maybe the exact and the phrase match. And you see how this changed? So the way it's been explained to me and from my understanding, phrase match would still qualify. Electronic medical records would still be the same thing as medical records electronic. So that would be just phrase match. Like, it doesn't matter what order, as long as it's the same words would qualify for the same term, even though. So maybe I don't have the right understanding of it, but what I use is exact match generally, because exact match, that's exactly what people are searching for from my understanding. Like, it's exactly this term, electronic medical records. And if you think about it just from like a kind of a common sense perspective, electronic medical records, that's probably typed in more often, 9,900 times, than medical records electronic, which is typed in only 91 times. So with your website, you did it right, electronic medical records. If you had instead made a page medical records electronic, you know, you might want to change it. So play around with this, and it works with everything. Like, you can type anything you want in here, medical records. $8,100 times. We're going to do this too. See this little arrow? Click on this. You can do a Google search. It'll open it up in a new window or a new tab, which I think is, I love that it does that. Wikipedia's got the number one. UK Healthcare, yourmedicalrecords.gov. So okay, let's just talk about this real briefly, and let's actually use what you want. Electronic medical records. And listen, SEO, dude, SEO will take a long time to ever be a master, but you don't have to be a master at SEO. If you just get the basics and just stay with the basics and the fundamentals, and don't try and, you know, get ahead or like cheat or, you know, like you'd be amazed at some of the things that website owners have done in the past. Google has gotten smarter, and their whole reason for making these changes, some people I'm sure have heard of the Panda update and the Penguin update, and if you haven't, look at this: Penguin Google update, Panda Google update. If you haven't heard of it, let's see how often it's been searched for in Google. Penguin Google update, 170 times. Penguin Google update. This is the exact match. Exact match. So if we were writing about the Google Panda update or the Penguin update, we'd want to title it Google Panda update instead of Panda Google update, because you want it to, you know, let's go ahead and just let me show you. Google Panda update, 73 times. See, this number one website is still titled Google Panda. Google Panda, even though we did Panda Google. Google Panda. Google update underway. Google updates. Google Panda update. Google's pending Panda update. Google's Panda algorithm. Google algorithm. The algorithm is simply how Google decides Wikipedia should be number one and Search Engine Land should be number two. And Search Engine Land should also be number three. They're doing a good job there. Do you see? Makes sense. Don't worry about these updates, but the updates just simply kind of, I think Google's goal with it was to get rid of the people that are cheating and the people that are buying links from other websites and the people that are using article robots and article submissions. And the idea, if you just do what Google wants, build your website, you know, naturally, and don't add 1,000 pages in one day, or go buy 1,000 links in one day, or do anything that doesn't seem like it's normal, natural website behavior. So basically just don't try and cheat, then you'll get some Google. I mean, especially if you've got good content, like Google's friendly. They want to give you and give people like Wikipedia good content. They want to put this stuff at the top. Go check out this Google Panda page on Wikipedia. It'll kind of tell you more about the panda and the um, it's the panda, but it's an algorithm update, and that's relevant now because you know about SEO and search engine optimization. Um, there's also talks about over optimization. Some of these references here would probably be worth looking at. Search Engine Land is referenced. Wired.com is referenced. Here's the official Google Webmaster Central blog. This is a good resource to check out, and there's tons of good Google resources that tell you what to do and how to make your website. But we're going to talk about what type of pages to add to your website. And I'm going to close all this stuff out so we can, including your website. Electronic medical records. Well, you've only got the exact one clicked right now. Play around with this stuff if you want. Exact is usually what I look at. Sometimes you'll be surprised at the changes, and I'm still, you figure these things out all the time. I spent many years just working off the broad one, and I saw success. So don't worry about this stuff. A lot of it you just got to do and play with for a little bit to really figure it out. And like I said, I'm telling you what I do after my just under a decade of internet geekdom. So I want you to click this little down arrow. We did a Google search. Google Insights. This can be a useful little tool or something to help. I have actually started to look at it from time to time. So your website's about electronic medical records. You asked today, what's another page I should add, some more content to your website. What are people looking for? And what's related to electronic medical records? So you can look at this stuff, and I'm going to let you read that and figure out some of these things if you'd like. I'm just going to tell you what I do and what I've looked at, what I've kind of focused on. Doesn't mean I have all the right answers. I have a whole bunch of right answers, but I know there's better. Like, I'm sure people can find better ways, and I'm always learning new and better ways. So, Google always tries to help you with new and better ways. What I really want to show you is this related terms right here. People whose searches match the restrictions most often search for these terms too. So basically, people that are searching in Google, these 9,900 or 74,000 with the broad match, but exact match, 9,900 people, electronic medical records. Some related terms are electronic health records, electronic medical record, EMR. I don't know what that is. Electronic health record, electronic records management. So let's go ahead and just start with the bottom one. Whoops. Let's search in Google for that. There we go. Did you see that? It's the click on the magnifying glass. If you actually click on the word, they're going to pull up the word inside here. So click on the magnifying glass if you want to search in Google for it. Electronic records management. Electronic records management. So you could make a page about electronic records management. Toolkit for managing electronic records. What is ERM? Electronic records management guidelines homepage. Records management Wikipedia. So I encourage you to search in Google for it, because this website at number 1, this website at number 2, this website at number 3, and really all these websites on the front page are probably giving people what they're looking for. So that means you can go and look at their websites and you can try try to make your website better, or you can get an idea of what Google wants your website to look like or to have by looking at what they already like for a search term that you want your website to show up for, like electronic records management. So let's go ahead and go to this second page. These aren't as good of search results according to the Google algorithm. And Google's always changing their algorithm because they they need to make sure they're giving you what you're looking for and what you really want, so you don't go over and use a different search engine. And Google does a good job. I use Google. So this is the fourth page, page 4, of about 40,400,000 results. Enterprise Content Management, Strategies for Managing Electronic Records, Indiana University. These are, it's on the subject, but these ones on page 4, according to Google and Google's search algorithm, aren't as good as this first one on page, on the page 1, archives.gov. And let me give you just heads up, it is going to be a little bit difficult to beat out like government websites, such as like ftc.gov or archives.gov. I assume that's a government website. Also kind of universities. These are good websites to have linked to your website if you can, but some websites are going to be almost unbeatable, such as, especially in kind of, like buying a house. Let's see what shows up. Well, Money CNN, but if Bankrate, here's HUD.gov. Like, there's probably always going to be a government website on the first page about some things like buying a home or getting a mortgage. Talking about a home because you just went and did all this stuff and got yourself a new home. Congrats. That doesn't mean, though, that you can't still be on the first page, and you can very well even get in at the top. For some things, just play around and make content. As long as you're writing good content, Google will find you. And I'm going to show you what I do with some of the SEO specifically. But new pages, so you could do one about electronic health records, electronic medical records, EMR. Let's see what EMR is. Emerson Electric Company. Okay, this might. Alright, so here's a good example. Sometimes when people are searching in Google and they type in EMR, they're looking for electronic medical records. And sometimes they're looking for the Emerson Electric Company, which is traded on the New York Stock Exchange with the initials or under the, I don't know what they call it, call sign or something of EMR. Here's New York Stock Exchange with Google.com finance. And some of these are electronic medical records. That's the stock is EMR by, I believe. So that doesn't totally really mean anything. It just means some search terms have dual meanings, and if you've got a website about electronic medical records, you might as well make a page or try and get some links. We'll talk about links in the future, but make a page about EMR. I mean, don't write about Emerson Electric Company. Instead, write about electronic medical records. So let's say now your website, electronic medical records. Let's say you've made 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say you made 5 new pages. Right? You have 5 new posts. I'm sorry, not pages, posts. Made 5 new posts, and you can write about the same subject. Like you can write 10 pages about electronic health records, or 10 posts. Geez, I'm not going to stop saying that now. You can write 10 different posts about electronic health records. Generally, rule of thumb, a post in general, I recommend making at least 500 words. I've done much shorter, and you totally can. There's no rules to anything. But search engines, I believe, on a page it's about 500 words or more. Let's look at Wikipedia's number one. Let's see roughly how much content they have on here. So what, maybe 1,000, maybe even 1,500 words? Not including all this references and stuff. So you want to make sure you have, writing. Like, you can't just title a page EMR and then put a paragraph underneath it. Like, you gotta really tell people what it is. Tell them, the goals and objectives. How to use it, comparison, how it compares. Don't copy other websites. Put it into your own words. But look at some different websites. I mean, that's how you do research. Pull up the Wikipedia and pull up the healthhit.gov website. Here's something at Amazon. That's the electric company. But pull up, different websites about what you're writing about and about a new page, and get ideas from different places. Go read a newspaper if there's a newspaper about electronic medical records, newspaper article. Go check out Wall Street Journal and, quote them in your article and link out to the Wall Street Journal. And we'll talk some more about that here in a little bit. So you have 5 new pages about each of these topics that are titled these topics, like electronic health records, the 6 things you need to know, or the 7 things you must know. Electronic records management, don't let your system get off track by sloppy management. Toy around with the headline, but the headline, what you title the page, is going to be that right there, electronic medical records. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because we got to do a few things. So let's give you some other ideas too, because electronic medical records, these are 5 related pages, but let's just say, you don't want to write the same page and put it in different words every single day. So let's say you make one more page and you do electronic health records. So now you have your home page, or your first page, which is about electronic medical records. You now have one about electronic health. What was that? Electronic health records. So now you have 2 pages on your website. Let's go ahead and put this in, electronic health records, and let's see how this changes. So now you're targeting almost well over 15,000 people every month that are searching in Google for, electronic health records. Your page has the potential, your website has the potential to show up in here. And yeah, it's going to take some time before it'll ever show up, as number 1 for sure. Especially, this looks like a little bit more of a competitive business, or a competitive industry. And all that means is there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of money. The more competition. Another thing that shows you how much competition is how many people are advertising. This orangish, yellowish box is people that are advertising. This is all ads. This is how Google makes the bulk of their money, through these ads and then through these ads over here. This is how we paid Google for many, many years, and we're happy customers. They have search ads, and then you're going to post an ad on your website, and that's going to be a content ad. We'll talk about that more later, but you don't have to worry about the difference between search ads or content ads. But Google makes most of their money by advertising for local businesses and other big businesses. And since I just mentioned local, this is a huge opportunity, and I think what Google's really, really wanting from many websites these days. I think this is probably the biggest opportunity when it comes to search results and getting quick traffic without much work. You're talking about electronic health records. You live in New York, and let's go ahead and let's do Buffalo, or we can do Rochester, just because you also have New York City, or you could. So let's just do it. Electronic health records, Buffalo, New York. Electronic health records, jobs, employment in Buffalo, New York. Electronic health record. Health Link announces agreements. Check out some of these websites and see if they're even relevant, because a lot of opportunity exists in local search terms, because people are searching, electronic health records, Buffalo, electronic health records, Rochester, New York. Both of these cities are big cities, bigger cities, big enough markets that I'm telling you it's a huge opportunity. And it's my mom's a mental health therapist. Columbia, South Carolina. Now, if you're looking for a restaurant or a mental health therapist, I've done this millions of times. Columbia, South Carolina, or you can obviously, some people search South Carolina, but Google's smart enough, they can if you're writing about mental health therapy in Columbia, South Carolina, especially if you're a mental health therapist or a mental health counselor in Columbia, South Carolina, Google's smart. They are going to get you and put somebody like Jolie Moskell's website about mental health therapy, because she's a mental health therapist in Columbia, South Carolina, towards the top. That's one of the most relevant search results, would be Jolie Moskell. Right now we have Therapist Psychology Today. Let's look at this real quick. Columbia therapists. So all this is a listing of therapists, and maybe for some folks this is more helpful. But each one of these people could have a website, and maybe they do. I certainly hope they do. And if they don't, I hope that you tell them to go check out Dan Moskell and get a website. This is a great opportunity too, if you want to work with other businesses. Get them online. Get somebody like Jolie Moskell online. She has a website. There's my mom. Anger management, couples counseling, help for depression. This is WordPress. This is hers using WordPress. You can make a blogger site, and my mom can too, and if she wants to switch it over, I'll help her. That would be, even at a bare minimum, I think it looks a little bit better. Personally, just WordPress. This is one of the templates you can get with the free WordPress. WordPress is kind of difficult. My mom spent a bunch of time, and my mom's a smart woman. She went to graduate school. She's spent a bunch of time in school. She's a smart person, and she's had quite a bit of difficulty, just as I have. I've spent days hunting for 3 clicks in the right sequence. So, anyways, that's the first one. Counselor jobs, employment, Indeed. The point is here, it wouldn't be all that. Yellow Pages, Yellow Pages, nothing against the Yellow Pages, because they are helpful, and if you just want some phone numbers, then they can be helpful. But I think Jolie Moskell has a lot more relevant information, and I think Google probably think Jolie Moskell has a lot more relevant information for the search term, mental health therapist in Columbia, South Carolina. She is a mental health therapist in Columbia, South Carolina. She knows more about mental health therapy in Columbia, South Carolina than a listing at Yellow Pages, in my opinion. Personal opinion, nothing against the Yellow Pages, because Yellow Pages is helpful. I'm not talking bad about the Yellow Pages. But, this doesn't really tell you a whole lot. At least on Jolie Moskell's website, she tells you who she is, and she is a mental health therapist in Columbia, South Carolina. She tells you a little bit about the, where she's located, and about the type of mental health therapy she's going to provide you, rather than just a listing. And I'm talking about the yellow pages here, but Indeed, there's a lot of websites that have just gone around, and all they do is, we don't look at the phone book anymore, so this is just kind of like an online phone book, especially yellow pages. And I'm not saying that these search results will ever go away, but I don't think those are the best search results, and I think Google would probably be the first to admit it. I think Google just, they need to be told and shown that, joliemoskel.com exists along with other mental health therapists or electronic medical records. Let's look in Columbia, South Carolina. Electronic medical records, Columbia, South Carolina. EMR metal stampings. Looks like that's a business. So this looks, here's super pages. That's very similar to, here's yellow pages again. Here's yellow pages again. Here's yellow pages again. Here's white pages. Nothing against these websites, but I don't think that's the greatest. I think some people that are looking for electronic medical records, Columbia, South Carolina, or mental health therapist, Columbia, South Carolina, would much rather land on Jolie Moskel's website, who is a mental health therapist, or Joe's website, who is working within electronic medical records industry and is located in, the greater Rochester, New York area. It seems more relevant to me just on kind of a common sense, just from the surface. Super pages. We were looking for electronic medical records. We didn't say anything about EMR. They're talking about this business EMR because it looks like most people that are searching electronic medical records in Columbia, South Carolina are actually looking for EMR metal stamping, or maybe that's just the way it appears. I mean, maybe these folks are looking for electronic medical records, and maybe if you make a page about electronic medical records in Columbia, South Carolina, and services that businesses in Columbia, South Carolina could use to help with this or do whatever these other businesses do, you might be able to get in the top spot or on the front page almost instantly. I mean, these regional, and I'm talking about Columbia, South Carolina, we're talking about Rochester, New York, but let's do Boston. Looks like EMR is a big company. Electronic Health Records, Boston Reed College. Boston, New York, and you can always look in the keyword tool too. Electronic medical record. Oops. Medical records, Boston. Try New York City. Start with the big cities if you're worried about it, or you can also talk about like benefits of electronic medical records for Rochester, New York, and you very well may still get on this front page for just the general national search results. Not to mention benefits benefits of electronic medical records in, let's do Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a big city. Big city. Benefits of electronic medical record, jobs, employment. What? Joe, you're more familiar with this industry. I don't know anything about electronic medical records or what people that search in Google benefits of electronic medical records, even without the Las Vegas, or if they did. Here we go. Benefits of electronic medical records in hospitals. Here's a great idea. Benefits of electronic medical records in hospitals in Rochester, New York. Now, this might not get searched for tons of times, but the few times it does get searched for, you're going to be pretty high, even though New York Times. You got to play around. There's tons of opportunities, and really just see what starts getting momentum and what starts like working. You're gonna have to put a few pages up to start with, and I'm gonna talk about some other ways to get traffic to those pages and to start like building a following and get people to your website. But you work in electronic medical records. You have a lot of knowledge about electronic medical records companies and advantages of electronic medical records. Like, you're one of the most qualified people to talk about that. Certainly a lot more qualified than I am. And in my opinion, I think you have a lot better and more relevant information than any yellow pages or super pages or, just websites that are listing the business address and where they're located, since electronic medical records is not actually a business. It's kind of a lot of hospitals. My doctor just switched all of his medical records to electronic. I'm sure some of these doctors are even looking at it. I know my mom has expressed some concern over it over the years. So, electronic medical records for therapists or mental health therapists or psychiatrists or psychologists or, I don't know, if athletic trainers. I mean, you can write about anything and everything, and you don't have to just write about electronic medical records in Las Vegas and then electronic medical records in Buffalo and then electronic health records. Go down and use some of the other related stuff. What are electronic medical records? Electronic medical records training. It looks like jobs is a big thing. Electronic medical records company. What is electronic health records? And some of the other related things like medical records, I would think would be related to electronic medical records. You work in this, you know it, but using my mom as the example, mental health therapist, I know counselor would be related. I know therapist for depression or depression in Columbia, South Carolina, depression help. What are some of the other, marriage therapist, relationship help, mental health therapist? There's tons of things put on your creative pocket protector now that you've got the tools and some suggestions, and start, please. Let me know what you think of this video. Like I said, man, I want to give you everything, but I know it's going to be like information overload, and it's start with the title. The page title is very important, or the post title. So let's go ahead and just go all the way through with this. This video is getting long. Again. Whoops. Shoot. Alright, well, listen. You're gonna, rather than, this is the title, you would want to title it Electronic Medical Records, and then, you write about electronic medical records. Make sure that your title, if you write about the benefits, make sure your content on your page isn't about electronic medical records software. Make sure you're talking about the benefits of electronic medical records. Or if you title it, depression help in Columbia, South Carolina, make sure you're talking and reference Columbia, South Carolina and depression help in, the words that you write on the web page or the web post. That's just, you I know you've landed on websites that have a title and search results that have a title of something, and it's not anything. Nothing on the page is relevant to the title. So make sure you do that small, simple thing. Will help you and start helping you get indexed with Google and getting some Google affection and them saying, all right, this guy is, legit. And if you have, 3 pages on your website that's talking about electronic medical records, the benefits of electronic medical records in Rochester, New York, Google is going to get a better understanding. They send out these little crawlers and understand to get an idea of what each website's about and the content. Google can basically see your website and know what you're talking about. and Google's only going to get smarter with knowing what you're talking about and what your website's about. So, just make sure you match things up and use a little bit of creativity with your title. Like I said, the 7 key benefits, or, the 7 big mistakes to electronic medical record organization. Um, have fun with this stuff, and, if you can't write anymore and it's not 500 words, don't worry about it, because this one over here may only have, 50. It still might have, even 50 words might be a more relevant search result than this. I don't know. And I'm not saying anything bad about Indeed, because Indeed is clearly Indeed doing a good job if they're ranked #1 in Google for some search terms. So, we're going to talk some more about this, but the title, and, make sure that your content is about the title. And that's a great place. Check out this keyword tool. It gives you an idea of things you should write about. Electronic medical record, online medical records, 480 people. That's every month. Multiply that by 12 over the year. My medical records, maybe how to get my medical records, how to get my medical records sent to a new doctor. Medical records storage, medical records jobs, how to obtain medical records, free medical records. I mean, there's a ton of advantages of electronic medical records, computerized medical records, tons of things. So I'm going to go ahead and just send this video over to you, and I will talk to you soon, man.